It is Monday, September 15th, and week 2 of the NFL is actually still going on because we still have 2 Monday night games tonight to go over. So, hope you got your coffee, hope you got your cold brew, hope you got your hot coffee because we got a lot of football to talk about today. So, without further ado, let's get it started.
You're watching Cold Brews and Hot Takes, only on Fantasy Now Plus.
Welcome into this Monday morning, Cold Brews and Hot Takes. I am Josh Kimmel, host of this wonderful, wonderful, hideous podcast that we do here every single Monday morning. And man, we do have a lot to talk about today. The biggest news, of course, we'll get right into it. But like when we talk NFL, good morning, guys. When we talk NFL, it's like a television show. It's a weekly, episodic television show that we go through 18 weeks of this. And sometimes your favorite character on these television shows that you watch, they die off. They get killed. They're no longer a part of that season. Game of Thrones was huge for this. Game of Thrones was the talk of the town for a lot of people. We would go into the office the next morning and talk about, did you hear about Jaime Lannister? Did you hear about Jon Snow? Yada, yada, yada. It's unpredictable. It was brutal. We talked about it every single week, and it kept us entertained. We thought Ned Stark was the main character. We thought he was the main character of the show, and he was axed off literally the first season. Spoiler if you haven't seen it. It's going to happen a lot this year in the NFL. We're going to get injuries. We're going to get people axed off. We're going to get people that require surgery. We're going to get people that we drafted highly on our fantasy teams. We're going to have to deal with this injury, and that is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was, of course, injured early on in the Bengals game yesterday. He is a franchise quarterback. He is a top quarterback. He is a quarterback that we drafted, all of us, to be our leader for our fantasy team. He was a top 1, 2, 3, or 4 round, depending on if you play Superflex or not. But as the Game of Thrones went on, as the story kept on going, the NFL season will keep on going. It's going to happen. And unfortunately, it's going to happen without Joe Burrow because he's going to have surgery with that grade 3 turf toe injury, reported by Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, reported Sunday. This is awful. This is not good news for the NFL. They don't want their top star, or one of their top stars, hurt. And honestly, the Bengals have been sluggish off the rip. They are 2-0 somehow, some way. But it's not the way they wanted to leave week 2, of course. And for your fantasy teams as well, Jacob Browning will be filling the role. I don't see a trade coming anytime soon. I don't know if people were talking about that, but guys, if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, or you think that Kirk Cousins or someone of that could be the savior of this franchise, it's not going to happen. Jacob Browning can fill in just fine. He started 8 times in 2023. Finished inside the top 10 for fantasy 5 out of the last 8 weeks, or 5 out of the 8 weeks he started. He completed 70% of his passes, almost 2,000 yards, had 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And we saw what he could do with Mr. Jamar Chase yesterday. So Jacob Browning, is it Jacob Browning, John Browning? Browning. He is the starter for the Cincinnati Bengals moving forward. And we will move on to week 3, where we might have another death scene. We might have a situation where the mountain smashes someone's face in. The best death scene of all time, by the way. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, that's the best death scene of all cinema history. When the Viper gets his head smashed in. Unfortunately, one of my favorite characters of all time. But yes, we will move forward. And the NFL will continue to be brutal. And we do have more injuries to talk about this morning. Unfortunately, Aaron Jones had a hamstring injury last night. Not really too concerning for fantasy because Jordan Mason was taking the lead there anyway, but that is something to look after if you did draft Aaron Jones. And Justin Fields left the game yesterday with a potential concussion. I know he was being evaluated for that, coming off his massive game last week. We all bought into Bustin, baby. We all bought in. And when we all bought in, and when I buy in, that means he leaves the game injured. Justin wants to say, oh no, JJM didn't do well against a team not named Chicago. But Justin, I don't need I don't need your nonsense this morning. We're not hating on JJ McCarthy after his second game of all time. Maybe not just yet. Good morning, everyone. Brian. Good morning, Jamie. So you're saying the NFL TV show went off script? I thought the Burrow injury was planned. Listen, they may have gone off script. That was awful. When I saw him laying down there on his buttocks, stretched out with his legs stretched out, all I could think of was Lieutenant Dan can't move his legs. I was being dead ace serious. I was very upset. I've heavily invested in Joe Burrow this season. Of course I am. We're going to get to all the talking points tonight. This morning. We do have the best of the week. We have the worst of the week. We have a bunch of stuff to get to. But before we do that, fantasynowplus.com is where you can get our rankings, waivers, articles, and more. We do put up the DraftKings article, the underdog article. We throw out some start sits, some waiver wire tomorrow with Justin Bowerly. If you want direct contact with us, chat.fantasynowplus.com. That's our Discord. Make sure you join that. We do answer questions over there. We fill leagues over there. We have trade questions, all the fun stuff. If you want direct contact with myself, Justin, Will, Brian, anyone else on the team, Blue Ski, social media. If you're into social media, go to our social media pages, Instagram, TikToks, Blue Sky, Fantasy Now Plus, everywhere. And of course, Finn's Talk Sports Network. None of this would have been possible without Bobby and those guys over there at Finn's Talk Sports Network. We are live on their page as well. 7 days a week. We do put out 8 shows a week. We are really, really busy over here and we are crushing it. So we appreciate all the likes, all the subscriptions lately, and all the views. You guys are crushing it for us. And it really helps out the show. Once you like it, share it, and tell a friend about it. Just tell a friend, say, hey, these guys are different. They're doing things different over here. You should check them out. They're really helping us out. Or, hey, just tell them, hey, these guys suck. You should watch them because they suck. Hate watch them. Make fun of them. Whatever you want to do. As long as we get the views, we're happy over here. As long as we're helping you win some fantasy football leagues. Let's get to the quarterbacks that crushed this week. The cream of the crop. The quarterbacks that stood out this week. There was a ton of them. 14 quarterbacks this week were able to hit the 20-point mark. 14. Last week total, there was only 13. Jamie, you're my friend. Jamie, you are my friend. So I don't know why my nose is so stuffy. I apologize for that. I just got back from vacation, as you guys know, and I'm feeling the elements. I don't understand what's happening this morning. But 14 quarterbacks were able to hit that 20-point mark. We're going to go through them real quick. Nothing crazy. Jared Goff, of course, as we all thought. He was going to be up there, 5 touchdowns, super efficient week, 23 for 28. We all saw that coming, right? Jared Goff, quarterback 1, no crap. Russell Wilson coming off of his amazing, terrible performance. We actually had a situation where Scott Hansen, Jackson Dart's on the field. Oh, my goodness. He played 3 snaps. Russell Wilson came back in, 3 touchdowns, 450 yards. The rest is history, 31.3. He's currently the quarterback 2 on our list. Drake May played the Miami Dolphins. So therefore, he's going to be a top 5 quarterback this week. 19 for 23, 2 touchdowns, 31 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 26.3. When you play the Miami Dolphins, you will do well this year. I promise you. Lamar Jackson doing Lamar Jackson things. His second 20-point game this year in only 2 weeks. Dak Prescott back to his normal form, 23.1. Patrick Mahomes. I know you're here, Justin. The hater of Patrick Mahomes finished with 23.1. His second 20-point game. The hate has gone too far for Sir Patrick Mahomes. Just wait for Rashee Rice to come back. This man is on a mission this year. I've been telling y'all all offseason. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, his second 20-point game. You know what? I can say this now. I was getting ragged on. Don't victory lap week 1. Guys, it's been 2 weeks now. That's a streak, as they say in that Cleveland Indians movie. Major League. 1's just a win. 2's a streak. Let's go, baby. Let's make it 3 in a row. Danny Dimes, I drafted him as a top 24 player. I told you to. You're welcome. Bryce Young. Yesterday, when we were making this show, they made the thumbnail. Justin goes, hey, who do you want for your thumbnail? I said, I need Bryce Young on there. He is stinking this place up. Bryce Young is the worst quarterback of all time. As soon as I sent that text, Bryce Young said, you know what, Josh Kimmel? You know what we're going to do? We're just going to ball out, find Hunter Renfrow twice. We're going to find Jatavian Sanders, and we're going to find Tevin Warren. And we're just going to be a good. And I couldn't believe he went from like 0 fantasy points to 22.3 since I sent that text message. It was outrageous. We had a after that game, the Panthers game, Justin had to message me, go, oh, who do you want as a thumbnail this week? I'm like, yeah, because Bryce just balled out after I sent you that text. So good for him, Bryce Young. Don't expect that to happen every single week. That was just the onside kick. It was just insanity. If you watched that game reminded me of like an NBA game. It was just like penalty, nonsense, just craziness. But Bryce Young did get it done. 35 for 55, 328 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Big Mac Daddy had a great game, 21.8 with the San Francisco 49ers. Spencer Rattler, 21.7. Pretty good. And Trevor Lawrence, 21.2. Oh, we still have 2 more. Bo Nix and Jordan Love also hit the 20-point mark, and Jacob Browning 20.7. So those are your top quarterback plays. We do have 4 playing tonight with potential more hitting that 20 mark. It seems like offenses are getting more comfortable. Timing's getting more down. Scoring was up this week. Last week, every game hit the under except for that Friday night Chargers game. So we're expecting more points as teams get more dialed in, locked in. Quarterback play should be going up. We really, really hope. Jamie says we're living in an alternate reality where Danny Dimes and Mac Jones are top 10 fantasy quarterbacks. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. My son's been watching this show called Sonic Prime, which is the take on the multiverse. You know, Avengers did it. They did it. Everyone's doing the multiverse. So Sonic's doing it now. Yeah, we are in some kind of multiverse where this is not the real Daniel Jones. This is not the real Mac Jones. This is just some kind of weirdo Jones that came in through some kind of portal. That's my assumption. That's literally my assumption. Running backs, man. Running backs were wild this week. 6 running backs hit 20 points this week. 5 did it last week. We still have, again, 4 or 5 more running backs to go tonight. No, Justin, you can't do this. After scalding me all off season, after former or real or whoever members of Fantasy Now Plus telling me our rankings are brutal because I have Daniel Jones up there, you guys can't jump on the bandwagon. No, this is for me. This is mine. This is my spotlight, Justin. We could talk about a Wednesday showdown, but right now this is me. All right, Jonathan Taylor, 26 attempts. It took him 26 attempts to get 29.5 fantasy points, but man, was he super efficient with his 165 yards, 2 catches, 50 yards receiving, and 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor looks like the real deal Holyfield. Nothing has changed. James Cook, running back 2 at the moment, 26.5 fantasy points, his second 20-point game. It seems like it was a good choice to pay that man. Josh Allen did get hurt early in that game. He did play. They put I need some of that right now. I don't know why my nose is running, but they put some of that stuff up his nose. I guess I haven't seen the diagnosis yet, but Josh Allen kind of cooled off after that. We'll get into more of Keon Coleman and those bums later. Javonte Williams. Guys, this is the trend. 97 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 catches, 33 yards. Where were those catches last week when I bet the over on your receptions, Mr. Javonte? Where were those receptions last week? But I guess he's going to get 6 this week, and that's great. Just fine. Javonte Williams is the only show in town. Don't give me this Miles Sanders nonsense. Miles Sanders was not effective. He had 5 carries, 15 yards. He had 1 touchdown, which stunk for us Javonte Williams truthers, but there is no competition there. It's Javonte Williams until he does get injured, and I hope he does not get injured. It's all his show. We haven't really seen much of Blue. And again, Miles Sanders is Miles Sanders. We don't need to forget who he is. Javonte Williams is good enough to carry the load. CMC continues to be the Swiss Army knife. Just 19 touches, 100 total yards, 1 touchdown. Looks like he's back in prime form, his second 20-point game of the season. And this is the biggest takeaway of the week, and I'm over it. I am so over it. I am so over it. 2022, Josh, would have been celebrating, dancing in the streets, streaking. I'd be jumping up and down. I'd be popping bottles for Ramondre Stevenson. Jamie, don't steal my sunshine. Okay? I know Javonte's faced 2 horrible defenses, but don't steal my sunshine. At least he can beat the teams he could beat. That's the thing. If he was going into these terrible defenses and not doing well, there'd be a concern. But since he is doing well, kind of raising my eyebrows a little bit. It's okay. But Ramondre Stevenson, 11 carries, 54 yards, 5 catches, 88 receptions. It's time to face the truth that TreVeyon Henderson is not going to be effective in this offense until later on down the road. I know we drafted him high. I know we expected him to be a power back right off the rip. I know we expected him to be getting what Ramondre is getting. But it's time to face reality with some of these rookies. Caleb Johnson's one of them. I saw a ton of drops yesterday with Caleb Johnson, as he should be. Going into the season, I told you guys to drop him because of Aaron Rodgers in that offense, and they're just not going to use him. Now he just gave up that touchdown on the kickoff. He's dead. RIP Caleb Johnson. I'm not going to bury Henderson yet. He did a 3 carries, 10 rushing yards, 2 catches, 30 yards in the air. It's just not good enough where we drafted him. And I know a lot of us, including myself, are still starting him at running back 2 or in that flex spot. But until further notice, he can no longer be started on our fantasy teams. TreVeyon Henderson is not dead for fantasy, but what he is right now, he is a cautious play, not even a play. He's a cautious bench player, and you just need to keep on holding him because when he does break out, it's going to be nice. He's going to work out for you, but we can't keep losing weeks by starting him now because if we keep starting him, we're not going to be able to use him later on in the year because we'll already be eliminated from the playoffs. The draft is over. The draft has been over. Where you drafted these players doesn't matter anymore. It's about what you have on your roster and who you need to plug in to win week to week. This whole I drafted Henderson in this round, I don't care. The Patriots don't care either. Right now, the hot hand is Ramondre Stevenson, and that's who's going to get the play right now. We got to wait and see for Henderson, and it's sad. It's a sad situation for a lot of us, myself included. So I'm willing to hold on to him, going to keep on holding on to him, but he's no longer going to start until further notice. And I hope you guys take that advice. Caleb Johnson is currently last place running back. Yeah, 1,000%. He's trash. He's not trash. It's just he's not going to get the opportunities. And that was a bonehead play yesterday. Letting that ball bounce into the end zone after it was touched and not even going for it, bonehead move. That just tells me he has no awareness. William Huffman says, I'm screwed. I got Pacheco, Henderson, and Jones Sr. Yes. Yeah, that's pretty bad. And you know what? It's only week 2. We have a ton of time to bounce back. I'm not worried about it. Once it gets around week 6, 7, 8, and we're still struggling, time to hit the panic button. Hopefully Pacheco does something, but it's not going to happen. What's going on, Kenny? Appreciate all you guys watching right now. We got a ton of people watching, so I really appreciate every single one of you. If you hit that like button, it really helps out the show. It's free. It costs you nothing. If you're watching on Finn's Talk Sports Network right now, if you want to merge on over to Fantasy Now Plus, hit that subscribe button. Then you can go back to FTSN. I like watching FTSN, but we really need some love over here at Fantasy Now Plus. So I really appreciate you guys. Let's go to the stud receivers of the week. Man, 10 receivers hit the 20-plus mark. 10. Last week, only 8. Again, we have an uptick in scoring this week, as we all know. Sun God, 39.2, 3 touchdowns, 9 catches, 115 yards. You think they wanted to send a message to Ben Johnson? Do you guys think they wanted to show Ben Johnson something? I think so too. Tell me why I shouldn't trade Marv. Because you're not going to get the value. Don, straight up. Tell me why I shouldn't trade Marv. Because you're going to get pennies on the dollar at this point. That's why. It sucks. It's a sad situation. Malik Neighbors, 13 targets, 9 catches, 167, 2 tutties. Jamar Chase doing Jamar Chase things, back up there with 36.5 points. And Rome Odunze, 31.8. He has taken over the wide receiver 1 situation. DJ Moore, only 5 catches, limited yardage. Odunze with the touchdowns. I love Odunze this year. I think he's going to be a stud, and we're going to see him on this top list more and more and more. Here's a guy, as Collinsworth would say. Wan'Dale Robinson, 10 targets, 8 catches, 142, 1 touchdown, 28.2. That was a wild game. That game was just never ending. Overtime took forever. Everyone went nuts. Russell Wilson became Russell Wilson of 2012. Yeah, Wan'Dale's not going to do this every single game, but he does show that he's going to get the targets. We talked about him last year a lot too. It's Neighbors, Wan'Dale. There's nobody else. Cam Scatterboo's coming on a little bit strong. I know that I saw that comment in the chat earlier. He scored the touchdown as well. That Giants team just has to get moving along. I don't know what they can do to keep this up, but they're not going to keep on scoring 50,000 points a game. It's just not going to, it's just not possible with Russell Wilson. He had a very, very bad week last week, very, very good week this week against a bad Dallas Cowboys defense. If they play Dallas every week, I'm all in. I'm all in. Puka's second 20-point game, 27.6, came off that long rush. It was awesome. Troy Franklin surprised people, 24 points. I'm sure he's going to be on the waiver wire show tomorrow with Justin and Charlene. Hunter Renfrow, 23.8, coming out of nowhere, rising from the dead. Yeah, he's going to be on the waiver wire show tomorrow as well with Justin and Charlene. Not sure where that came from. Devontae Adams was targeted heavily in the red zone yesterday. 22.6, came down with a tutty. I ranked him so low this week, and I am so ashamed of it. Never count on Devontae Adams. And CD Lamb actually caught some footballs this week, 20.2 points. Man, we have a lot of studs this week. Tight ends, 6 tight ends have hit 13 plus points. It was hard for me to find a benchmark for tight ends. Can't go 20 points because it rarely happens. Can't go 15 because it rarely happens. So I settled on 13 points because that seems like kind of in the middle. 6 tight ends had 13 points while 5 did it last week. Again, we have players tonight. Tucker Kraft, we saw him Thursday night, 24.2. Ertz, 18.4. We saw him on Thursday night as well. Jake Ferguson, 16.8. Juwan Johnson, who will be on the waiver wire show this week, I am sure of it, 15.9. Trey McBride, 13.8. And I got a big shout out to Pudge, Chris LePage on our show, the IDP guy on our show, who I do host the IDP show with on Fridays. Jatavian Sanders, 13.8, 9 targets, 7 catches, 54 yards. Listen, if any tight end is getting 9 targets a game, he is a must add. He's going to be on the waiver wire show as well with Justin and Charlene. Ooh, Henry, let me get some questions or some comments down here. Don Barker, he wants to know, Henry and Marv for Hurts. I need help at quarterback. I'm assuming that is Derrick Henry and Marvin Harrison for Jalen Hurts. I'm going to say no if that's Derrick Henry. If that's Hunter Henry, we do have some situations to talk about that, because yes, I would do that for Hurts, but if it's Derrick Henry, I'm not doing that for him. It's too much value. Derrick Henry had a stinker game yesterday. He's fumbled twice this year, which is ungood for Derrick Henry, showing some signs of, is he getting too old? I'm not sure yet. But also, he had an amazing game week 1 against Buffalo. This week was a very, very bad game for him, but he's going to have those. I'm not trading Derrick Henry for Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts' upside as a passer isn't there. We'll talk about him in the stinkers, actually, because he did not do well this week for fantasy football. He was very bad for fantasy football this week. So if you're trading a stud like Derrick Henry, who's guaranteed to get you 15 to 20 touches a game, no, I'm not trading him for a quarterback. There's other quarterbacks out there. Jacob Browning could be a situation where you want to pick him up. We already talked about him early on the show. Last year, the year he started, 2023, 5 games out of 8 were the top 10 fantasy quarterbacks. We saw what he did with Jamar Chase. He has T. Higgins out there. He has Chase Brown. Jacob Browning is going to be not a league winner for you, but if your quarterback is struggling and you could pick him up cheap, he's going to help you out and get you through I would like to know who your quarterback is now. Burrow. He has Burrow, Saquon, Henry, Marv, Puka, Ladd, and Warren. That's a decent team. Burrow leaving, getting hurt, getting axed. That sucks. But again, Jacob Browning's out there, and there's other quarterbacks you can go pick up on the cheap. Nick wants to say, I would like to thank everyone for underrating James Cook. My fantasy team thanks you. Even the Buffalo Bills wanted to underrate him, and he's one of the most valuable players on that team. So James Cook was not undervalued on this show, on this network. We love James Cook here, Nick. Jamie wants to know any Dynasty Taxi Squad guys you could think of who could be activated to roster that can be usable in lineups. I hope if you're this is an easy one, Judkins, right? Because if you drafted him and you have a taxi squad, you should have thrown him on there. He's one for sure. You can easily just call up right now. But other than that, Jamie, man, taxi squads are so weird and wild, and I don't know who you have on your list or how long you can stay on there. Um, last Judkins is the big one for me. Is this get ready to fire him up? He looks like the back that you want to roster in Cleveland. I know a lot of people were selling him off early and often because of the whole suspension situation, the illegal situation, him not signing a contract. All the red flags were heading towards Judkins, but yesterday he's gonna be Studkins. We'll be calling him Studkins here pretty soon. But yes, Fannin, yeah, you can activate Fannin as well. I don't hate Fannin as much. Sampson on your taxi squad, you can pick him up. A.O. Manor. A.O. Manor is a guy that I really like, and he stands out because when I first did my rookie rankings this year, which I'm not a rookie guy, not into rookies. I'm not into them. I don't watch college football. I tried to, I don't have 45 minutes to go, but I tried to watch college football this Saturday. How do you people do it? It's the most boring. I'd rather watch the NBA. I would much rather watch the NBA at this point. Semi-pro, bad play. If you like college football, you should love the CFL. You should love the whatever XFL. You should love all those because these are the same quality of players. It's bad football. God, it was so bad. I had to turn it off. But so I don't know many rookies until I know. And that's why I don't do the Dynasty show. That's why I don't do the Dynasty show. I stick strictly to redraft. And so I would refer you to the Dynasty in 30 show. I would refer you to Will, Brian, much smarter people than myself for the rookies and the taxi squad. But yeah, Sampson, Fannin, A.O. Manor, who's getting targeted well with Cam Ward. Oh, that brings me back to it. I had him, A.O. Manor, ranked above RJ Harvey. I don't like old running backs. I got called out for it. And you guys shame me for putting him. I had him above. You guys shame me to put him down, and I regret it because I think he's going to be a really good receiver for the Tennessee Titans. Nick says, yeah, I had Burrow too. Luckily, got Daniel Jones this week, and I am in the best ball. Listen, if you have Danny Dimes, don't worry about it, Nick. And yes, go pick up Browning. 1,000% go pick up Browning. Guys that sucked. This won't be a long segment because I don't like to harp on these bad guys, but we have to talk about them. JJ McCarthy, 4.8 points last night, quarterback 29. He was more of the quarterback we saw the first 3 quarters of last week's game. Trusting Kevin O'Connell is the tagline here, but man, you can't have faith in starting JJ McCarthy next week after what we saw last night. That was just extremely bad football, and he needs to get called out for it. Justin Fields, he was bad before the head injury, so let's not just dox this on the head injury. Or 4 total fantasy points, quarterback 31. He didn't look good against Buffalo. Not sure what was going on there. Hopefully he gets reassessed, or hopefully he gets cleared and he's okay. I don't want to see any player with a concussion or any head injury at all. That's not why we watch football. That's not why we root on these guys. As much as I don't like Justin Fields, I want him to be healthy and play football because that's best for the league. So hopefully he can bounce back from this. Jalen Hurts, 11.5. You're going to see this a lot. Again, when you're not throwing the ball, when you don't need to throw the ball, and your entire playbook is just run the ball with Saquon Barkley and tush push, that's what's going to happen with Jalen Hurts. You're going to need him to fall into the end zone for some touchdowns for him to be super, 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 super relevant. Yes, he can have his 15 to 16-point games without it, but he didn't do it this week against Kansas City. He didn't need to do it this week against Kansas City. 11.5 points. They won the football game. That's all they care about today. They don't care about your fantasy teams. So it's going to be tough to roster any Eagles this year, not Saquon Barkley. And Michael Penix, 5.3 fantasy points, 28, quarterback 28 on the week so far. Last week, he played Tampa Bay and had a really good game. Drake London, Kyle Pitts really stood out last week. This week, not so much. Seemed like a very, very bad game last night on the Sunday Night Football front. Running backs, Breece Hall. Oh my goodness. I was victory lap. This is why we don't victory lap early, guys, because I was the highest on Breece Hall out of any one of my colleagues, I believe. And he really shit the bed yesterday, 5.8 points, running back 36, Pacheco, who I don't like at all, 3.9, running back 44. RJ Harvey, the senior citizen himself, 3.4, running back 45. Remember last week he was ran down by that slow linebacker. Get out of your RJ Harvey stock as fast as you can. Derrick Henry, 2.3, running back 50. We already talked about him. Better days are ahead. And Trevion Henderson, 6 points, running back 35. Just not involved in this offense. Not enough. Wide receivers that stunk the bed. I'll start off with the waiver wire darlings, right? Keyshawn Butte, 8.6 fantasy points. Keon Coleman, 5.6 fantasy points, wide receiver 67. We're going to see a lot of that from Keon Coleman. That's just the way that offense is going to go. Is it going to be Shakur's week? Is it going to be Kincaid's week? Is it going to be Coleman's week? No, it's going to be James Cook's week. That's what's going to be. It didn't help that Josh Allen was injured early in that game. Stephon Diggs, 7.2 points, wide receiver 61, and AJ Brown, 7.7, 5 point, wide receiver 49. If you roster AJ Brown, it is time to panic. It really is. Try to find somebody that wants to invest in AJ Brown and get him off your roster as soon as possible. Don't want any pass catcher for the Philadelphia Eagles. Marvin Harrison, 4.7. We talked about him earlier. You're stuck with him. If you roster Marvin Harrison Jr., you are stuck with him. The market's closed. It's over for him. As far as trade market, he could bounce back. Of course he could, but Kyler Murray just doesn't look for him in key spots. He looks for other players, which drives me nuts when Michael Wilson's out there scoring touchdowns. Trey McBride was like, he's the number one guy there. Trey McBride always will be. But Marvin Harrison really needs, I know he's young in his career, but he really needs a connection with his quarterback. And I don't see that connection with Kyler Murray at all. He's not the safety net. Marvin Harrison is, he's open, I'll throw it to him. But he's not, I'm going to look for Marvin Harrison. I'm going to look for Trey McBride. And that's where Kyler's at right now. He's not targeting Marvin Harrison as much as we want him to, of course. And it's going to be a rough season of, Marv scored a touchdown. I'm not saying Marvin Harrison's not a superstar, because he could be in the right offense, the right system. Everyone needs a system. I heard Gerald McCoy say this on the NFL show, pre-show yesterday. Calling a quarterback or a player or system player is stupid. It's not fair. Everybody is. A great offensive coordinator comes in, finds what these players do well. He leverages that and goes, Chris Godwin shouldn't be playing outside. I'm speaking of Liam Coleman. Let's put Chris Godwin back in the slot. Oh, look what happened. Chris Godwin was a superstar all of a sudden after 2 mediocre years under the previous coaching staff. Marvin Harrison just needs to be in a situation where he is the number one guy overall, and he has a quarterback and a scheme that can get him open. Right now, that's not happening with Marvin Harrison. So it's unfortunate. It really is. I just don't know what to do with Marvin Harrison. Cortland Sutton, 1.6, wide receiver, 97. I love to see Sean Payton lose. It's fun. One of my funnest things to do is to watch Sean Payton just suck. I don't know why that just came out. Sorry that came out, but it's true. Garrett Wilson, 9 points. I bet his over on his receptions this week. Great job, Justin. Great job. Jets did a great job. Wide receiver 47. And the last one, Hollywood Brown, coming off that 10 catches, 99-yard game. He only got 8 points, wide receiver 55. They need Rashee Rice back in the worst way. That's everything for all the studs and duds of the week. Now we're going to look forward into tonight's matchups where we have two Monday night games where I will only watch 0.5 because I'm not saying up till 10 p.m. Although I want to. That's the game I'd prefer to watch, the Raiders and Chargers. But 10 p.m. for a East Coast father where I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning is asking a lot. Once again, the East Coast dads and moms out here, we get the short end of the straw. Kind of unfair, but that's the way the NFL is going to do it. Buccaneers at Houston, players to watch. Baker Mayfield projected 22.61 fantasy points. Baker's career Monday Night Football record is 0-3. It's true. Lifetime Baker Mayfield on Monday Night Football is 1-7. It's true. Baker Mayfield with Tampa has thrown 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in those games. He just averages 238 yards. This is a big talking point in the local news and radio. When the Buccaneers play Monday night, the Buccaneers play prime time, the Buccaneers get embarrassed. If I'm a betting person, which I'm I am. I'm taking the taking the Houston Texans straight up tonight. Just the Buccaneers always lay an egg on primetime television. Mike Evans is projected to get 14.48 points coming off an 8-target game last week, 5 catches, 51 yards. Again, this is all going to go with Baker Mayfield and how the Buccaneers play. Emeka Mbuka did look like the wide receiver 1 last week. He's projected 11.91 points. He had 2 touchdowns last week. Let's see if he can keep this going. And Bucky Irving, 18 touches last week, but he's projected to get 19.91 this week. Last week, he only scored 12.6. They want to get Bucky Irving more involved and take the pressure off of Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield. On the other side, we have CJ Stroud, who has no offensive line whatsoever. He's projected to score 18.78. He had no touchdowns last week, through 1 interception, only scored 11.4 fantasy points. He needs to bounce back, and for him to do that, we need Nico Collins to step up. He was only targeted 5 times last week. That's not going to be efficient for any receiver. You need to get into a rhythm. So if they can't get the ball to Nico Collins, CJ Stroud's not going to do well. Let's be honest. That's exactly what's going to happen. Last week, he only caught 3 catches for 25 yards. He's projected to get 15.9. And Nick Chubb, 51% of the snap share last week, 13 attempts, 60 yards, 7.5 points. Not feeling good about Nick Chubb whatsoever. At this point, he's just a guy. If you're relying on Nick Chubb to do anything for you tonight, I feel so bad for you. But he is a guy that can get you 8 points if you're lucky. Hopefully he falls into the end zone. Don't expect too much for Nick Chubb. So, Josh, are you saying that Baker would be bad and you should have started Daniel Jones this week? We also have the LA Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, this is going to be the more fun matchup. We have Justin Herbert facing off against Geno Smith. Don't sleep on Geno Smith because he did really well last week, and I love this offensive firepower he has to work with. Justin Herbert scored 34.9 points last week. He was a quarterback 5. He had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Sleeper has him projected at 22.6. The Chiefs are a very good defense. I expect more of Justin Herbert this week. He has a ton of offensive weapons. This is probably the most offensive weapons he's ever had, if you count Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson, and Amaro Hampton. Speaking of Hampton, he had 80% of the snaps last week, 17 touches, but a very pedestrian, 8.6 fantasy points. We need more from Hampton. We need more from Hampton. Projected 14.5 fantasy points. I would like to see him get more targets in the passing game because that, as we know, that elevates the running backs up. Quentin Johnston. This is it. You see your Boutte failed you. Who was the other wide receiver that everyone ran to pick up? I already spoke about him. He failed you. All right, third time's the charm, right? Quentin Johnson, we're not going to fail you. We're not going to fail these guys who spent $25, $30 fab on you, right? There's no way he's going to just not continue what he did last week. So last week he popped off 79 yards, 5 catches, 2 touchdowns. Very fluky, if you ask me, but people want to believe in Quentin Johnson. He's projected at 8.31. To me, he's the least pass catcher I'm trusting in this offense because you have Ladd McConkey there. You have Keenan Allen. Ladd McConkey had 9 targets last week, 74 yards. If he had the 2 touchdowns, which he didn't, would we be talking about Quentin Johnson this week? We wouldn't. So hopefully Ladd gets back on track. 13.77 is his projection. And old Dusty, Keenan Allen, still getting it done. 10 targets last week, 7 catches, 68 yards. He's going for that Chargers all-time reception record. I can see Keenan Allen get peppered with targets. Him and Justin Herbert have that trust, have that connection, have that, aura with them. So I love Keenan Allen for a sneaky flex play tonight. I could easily see him getting 10 targets again. Love me some Keenan Allen. He's projected 9.71. Quentin Johnson still has bricks for him. Yeah, as last I checked, he does. So if you guys are counting off of 2 fluke touchdowns again, more power to you, brother. More power to you, brother or sister. Nick says, drop Jadon Blue and scooped up Cam Skatteboo for the end of my bench. That is the right move. 1,000%. Cam Skatteboo has definitely taken over that backfield back there. Didn't do quite enough to make me want to talk about Cam Scatterboot today because that was just such a weird game in general. I'd like to see more from Cam Scatterboot. From what I saw, he looked good and bad. He didn't look fast enough. He didn't look quick enough. He didn't look like he could break a long run. Did. And at the second point, he looked bulky enough to power through that line. So I'm kind of like uneven on Cam Scatterboot. I need to see more. But way better than Jadon Blue, in my opinion. Geno Smith projected 20 points tonight. Last week against the Patriots, balled out. 362 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, scored 22.35. I mean, when you play the New England Patriots, I mean, just look at Tua Tagovailoa, whatever his name is. I hate that guy. Tua balled out this week against the Patriots as well. So maybe it's a trend moving forward. Maybe Geno gets exposed tonight. Not sure. Can't wait to see that. Ashton Jeanty, we need more from you, pal. 21 touches last week, 40 yards, 1 touchdown, just 11 points. He's projected 18.17. Brock Bowers, if you haven't done it, and don't say everyone's done it because they haven't. In my league specifically, Mayer is still on the waiver wire. Mayer is still a free agent. The person who rosters Bowers says, I'm just going to risk it. If he plays, he plays. If he doesn't play, he doesn't play. Again, we're on the East Coast. This guy, I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to stay up that late to find out? Probably will. I would. If you have Bowers, if you roster Bowers, just go check. Mayer may still be out there. And if Bowers is out, you just plug him in. Simple as that. Last week, 8 targets, 5 catches, 103. He's a super stud if he plays. And Jacoby Myers, the long-forgotten super stud on that team, 10 targets last week, 8 catches, 97 yards, 16.13. He's projected to score 13.0. So that's your matchups for tonight. What do you need to score? What do you need to win? I need a miracle. I need an absolute miracle. I need like 65 points from Hampton. See if we get it done tonight. I'll be hoping that he does. I highly doubt it. I went against Goff. I went against every super stud you could think of in my home league. Goff, St. Brown. I went against every single super stud. So it's been a fun week for me. I'm like the second highest scoring team on my league, and I'm losing. So it is what it is. But I want to thank every single one of you for watching and liking the show. Again, if you want more of us, we'll be live again tomorrow for the priority waivers with Justin and Charlene. If you want more of me, I'll be back on Wednesday at noon for the Fantasy Showdown with Justin. We're live Thursdays. I'll be back Fridays with Chris LePage, Pudge, the IDP show. We're live Saturday. And, of course, Sunday, Insights and Bites with Justin Bowerly. He cooked some magnificent wings this week. He gets you ready for your football matchups, answering your last-second starts and sits questions. So, again, make sure you guys watch Fantasy Now Plus everywhere, Blue Sky, Twitter, Twitch, TikToks. I'm not on the social media, so I wouldn't know those places. But chat.fantasynowplus.com is our Discord. I am there. Join us over there and have fun. Hope you guys get what you need tonight. Geno Smith, Ashton Jeanty, Quentin Johnson possibly. I don't know, Will Desley. Whoever you need. I hope they score for you tonight. Until then, guys, I'm Josh Kimmel. Have a great day. I hope your cold brews stay cold and your hot coffee stays hot.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.